Oh hi, 16th of October 2025 today. This is the second part of my video concerning accessing mental health liaison service within an A&E department. This is specific to my city in Exeter, but I'm sure it goes on everywhere else. You can't believe how impossible it is to do a quiet video outside without getting interruptions from everything. It's just impossible. So this is my third attempt. Right, as I said in the other video concerning accessing mental health services within an A&E, it's called Mental Health Site Liaison. This part is about once you're actually there. So once you've gone through all that nonsense of sat in A&E for God knows how many hours, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, who knows, hours and hours, okay, you eventually get called just down the corridor to a room, which is where they do their assessment of you. Ridiculous. Anyway, your assessment will probably be between quarter of an hour and 20 minutes if you're lucky. Yeah, I don't like how it rolls. It's you know, it's meant to be about you. You're the client. You're in crisis and you need to be listened to. That doesn't go very good after a short period of the assessment. I find it quite, you're not allowed to express yourself. It seems like if you get too irate, they'll shut you down. Isn't it about assessing you in a crisis? You're going to be bouncing off the walls, you know, and chronic fight or flight anxiety and all the rest of it. You know, they need to allow for that, but they don't. Often is the case, they will divert you from what you're saying. Okay, some people would claim, and they would, to a level, they're trying to de-escalate your crisis. So okay, I'll go with that somewhat, but you know, once you have calmed down a little bit, they do continue to do this. It's like you're not allowed to speak thoroughly about how you're feeling, what's bothering you, what you're going through, etc., and how you feel. You know, it's like it's on rails. They shut you down quite often. I'm not saying they're all bad, but the problem is you've got a problem, right? If you go to the same place which you've been before, the chances are you're going to be seen by the same staff of that team. If you've become a little bit troublesome there before, it's like they will automatically badge you as being difficult. So that doesn't do you any good either. I don't think seeing the same people is a good idea. You know, I think it gets personal. It also puts you in a stressful situation because you know how they're going to react. You know how they're going to conduct the assessment. You know, I think seeing the same member of a team is not a great idea. But that's what happens. So, you know, as it goes on and whatnot, they will suggest a couple things. They're writing all this down in a report, okay? And they're trying to build from your assessment a bit of a, you know, some kind of structured pathway forward for you, okay? This assessment gets wrote down and logged with the plan of them forwarding it if you're under mental health services like CMHT, Community Mental Health Team, or the local mental health services. So it gets forward to that for the reason of they can pick it up at the next stage and, you know, possibly introduce some support, some help for you to move forward. But there's a problem here. Right, you're dealing with two separate departments. One is based in A&E and the other one is based in the mental health services. For me, in my city, it's another hospital over the way. So you're dealing with two departments, right? My guess is there's a lack of communication. So when they forward your action plan, which they've decided would be suitable for you, like maybe a tweak of your medication, some counselling, some support, some therapy, etc., they will forward that to mental health services. But the problem you have is often it doesn't get picked up at the next stage. It doesn't get actioned. So basically your assessment falls apart. Okay, it's on paper, but for some reason it gets lost in transition, and your plan they've set up for you just falls to pieces. There's another instance of this where this has changed this service a little bit, where they would recommend, say, 3 or 4 home treatment visits. Home treatment service before the pandemic could come to your house to check on your well-being, check on your mental state and your safety, and possibly medication. But that's mostly gone. Mostly it doesn't take place now. So if you get offered home treatment team service, that's going to be a challenge, because they will suggest in the site liaison, oh, we're going to recommend that you have, I don't know, 3 or 4, 5 home treatment visits. Well, as I just said, once that goes to the next department, it falls apart. It often doesn't get actioned. If it does get actioned from home treatment team for you to have a visit or visits, often is the case, you'll get 1. You'll be very lucky if you get 2, and then they will discharge you. So what is the point of all these services which are in place, right? If site liaison recommends, their recommendation is, oh, you have 4 or 5 home treatment team visits to check on your welfare and your safety, if they don't follow it through, you know, often is the case, you'll be told you've got 5 appointments, and you'll be lucky if you get past the first one. You'll be lucky if you get 2. Okay, this is how it's structured, this is how it's put together, and it gets lost between the services. You know, when you've been initially assessed, time it gets to the other service, it's lost 95% of its impact. It's old news. They're not interested. So you end up in this revolving situation until your next mental health breakdown and crisis, until you next go back to the mental health liaison service. That's it. And on you go, round and round, and you're gaining nothing. Ultimately, you're not being listened to. Ultimately, they're not actioning which a mental health service has referred you for. They write this down. That's another point. They used to write it down in like a structured breakdown pathway for you to be picked up by CMHT. I don't think they do that so much now. So when you leave your assessment from mental health liaison service, I've known people have just come out with a basic leaflet about coping strategies, box breathing, go for a walk, make some toast. That sort of piss poor coping mechanisms for you. And I think that's where a lot of them are coming away with that now. They're not getting the action plan, the pathway. They're just getting a leaflet, a standard leaflet for all about coping strategies. It's not enough. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And then they wonder why you end up in further crisis 2 nights later, say, and you're back at A&E going through all this crap again. You wonder why it repeats itself. Because basically it's bollocks and nothing gets actioned, or very little gets actioned. So yeah, that's about it. It's piss poor at best. But bear in mind, to get to all this, to get through A&E, mental health liaison service, get some kind of all but pretend action plan put in place to forward to your mental health services, you can spend in a total, who knows, 5, 6, 8, 10 hours for what? A leaflet to go and do some toast or go for a walk. I was even told once, right, oh, if you've got a dog, take it for a walk down near the river. what kind of good advice is that, right? To actually, someone who's in a mental health crisis, they're vulnerable, potentially they could have suicidal tendencies and stuff, and they're recommending you take a dog down by a river. How's that good advice? It's not. They don't know that. That just annoys me. So that's this one. It's the God's honest truth. I'm not exaggerating. This is lived experience in my video. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not making it up. You know, it's just being truthful what takes place. And I challenge anybody in those services, if they're listening to my video right now, why don't you have the backbone to actually post in the comments if I'm incorrect, and post in the comments of something different you claim to provide, because I challenge you, because I don't think you can. We'll leave it at that.